and expounded upon in the second and the third chapter. The plan is there. But let's go back to Genesis 1. God said, let there be light. But he wasn't talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars, because God didn't create the sun, moon, and stars until a few days later. So the light that God created, I mean, you don't have to have the sun, the moon, and the stars for light, because we know that it started out in darkness, and we know that in the end there will be light, because God is the light in the city of the New Jerusalem on the new earth. There won't be any need of sun or moon. I think that's a reason that the stars fall from the sky, the third of the stars fall, and we see all these lights going out, because God is the light. Jesus is the light of the world. God is the light and Jesus is the lamp. So we see that God created light, and he divided the light from the darkness, and that light was the day and the darkness being the night. And then later on, he created the sun, the moon, and the stars to rule over the day, the night, and for signs and seasons. So understanding there's the tangible, like you're talking about, the things that we can see, the things that we might could even land on, like the moon, and then there are the things that we just have to take on faith.
Well, yeah, and the only reason that the only reason we have to take a lot of this stuff on faith is because we're stuck in a rut and we don't have all the information. Matter of fact, Dr. J. Vernon McGee, and don't get me wrong, faith is utterly mandatory. Praise Jesus. I mean, my goodness, it is because you know what, this is. Our existence is, when you look at it from a particle physics perspective and all this, I mean, isn't it fascinating that they actually call the particle that they're trying to find
the God particle.
that, yeah. And you know what that particle does in their hypothesis is that particle is what's responsible for holding matter together.
Right.
So they can prove that there's all these particles. They know that it's a particle universe, right? They get that, but they don't understand how mass holds itself together. And so guess what they're looking for? The God particle.
That's right.
How ironic. And most of these guys don't even believe in God. But let me read this for the listeners, because this sets a context, and then let's jump over and go back to the planet perturbations that we were talking about earlier. Let's circle back to that. But first, let's set the foundation with a brilliant man of God, Dr. J. Vernon McGee, who was a pastor's pastor, and was extremely popular back, like in the 60s and such like that. All right. So highly, highly respected, this guy, and a very, very advanced mind. So this is what he wrote in his book, Through the Bible. Okay, and it's in volume 1, page 13. It says, quote, "I believe that Genesis is telling us that the earth became without form and void, and it was just as uninhabitable as the moon when the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. We can only suggest that there was some pre-Adamic creature that was on the earth. It seems that all of this is connected to the fall of Lucifer. I believe that this is Vernon McGee speaking, quote, I believe that the entire, now please hear this word with great emphasis. He says, and I came under this great catastrophe. What was the catastrophe? We can only suggest that there was some pre-Adamic creature that was on the earth, and it seems that all of this is connected to the fall of Lucifer, son of the morning, who became Satan, the devil, as we know him today. I think all of this involved here in Genesis 1 verse 2, but God has not given us the details. The fact of the matter is that he has given us very, very few details in the first chapter of Genesis. Now, here's my point. The universe, the fall of Lucifer, if J. Vernon McGee's hypothesis is correct, which it is, then yes, the universe is billions of years old. The fall of Lucifer occurred millions of years ago. It opens up almost an unlimited possibility of understanding, particularly when we start looking at things like the strong delusion, all the evidence that the ancient aliens people bring forward. They just come to wrongful conclusions. They don't understand that all this amazing stuff has a place in the Holy Bible, and that it's not just mythology, and that God is the divine and holy creator, the great El Elyon, the most high God. Why would you be called the most high God if you didn't have subordinate gods under you? See, it's all in the Bible, but you just have to apply a little bit of common sense to it. It's amazing. And on that note, if you want to circle back to the earth and the wobble concept, and you can play that audio bite I sent over your way, what that is for the folks to grease the rails for them so they understand where we're heading with this is, in addition to your hypothesis, which I believe is correct, that there are interdimensional interplays happening in this time space from other dimensions, because we are so close to the manifestation of the Great Tribulation, when the demonic entities actually will move over into this realm, along with, fallen beings of all sorts of horrible shapes and sizes and capabilities. But it's also bigger than that. I think it has a lot to do with Planet X, which the Colburn Bible refers to as the destroyer. I believe it's also referred to as the destroyer in Jeremiah. I think it's chapter 4, verses 5 and 6 or something like that. It's also in 2nd Esdras 15, verse 40. It's referred to the horrible star. The books of 1st and 2nd Esdras were included in the original 1611 King James for the King James people out there. Praise Jesus. But anyway, if you would play that audio clip, what that is a an audio bite from a documentary that was played, believe it or not, on the Weather Channel. And it had a whole bunch of super duper smart climatologists and various, scientists postulating and sharing their ideas of what might happen to our planet, that we could see, what we could perceive happening, if a rogue planet of some type, planetary body, brown dwarf planet, who cares, a rogue planet, entered into our solar system unaware. We didn't know it. It just kind of snuck in because we weren't looking for it. Perturbations. But if you play that, what's really stupendous, amazing, astonishing, jaw-dropping is that one of their hypotheses is describing precisely what planet Earth is going through right now. And go ahead and play it, because it's mind-bending. The effects of a rogue planet from the Weather Channel.
We know with great certainty what is going to happen if a rogue planet comes into our solar system. We can run computer models, we can make educated guesses, but at this point it's a purely hypothetical phenomenon.
Here is one possible scenario. A rogue planet suddenly appears on the fringes of our solar system. As the rogue streaks past the outer planets, the whole solar system begins to change. The rogue's gravitational pull alters the orbit of Jupiter. Jupiter, in turn, pulls the Earth out of its nearly circular orbit to an elliptical orbit.
If it passed near the Earth, then the Earth's orbit would be changed almost instantaneously.
This new orbit takes the Earth as close to the Sun as Venus and as far out as Mars. Although we still remain in the habitable zone in this new elliptical orbit, our climate would begin to alter drastically. For most, the change is so gradual that at first it's hardly noticed. The days grow longer and the nights get colder, but life goes on as before. But over the next few months, a slow-motion global disaster begins to unfold.
There's a common misconception that the Earth's seasons are driven by our distance either toward or away from the sun, where summer is when the Earth is closest to the sun and winter is when it's farthest away. That's not true. Right now, it's the Earth's tilt that causes summer and winter. So when your side of the planet's facing toward the sun, it's summer. And when your side of the planet's facing away, it's winter.
The entire planet would have summer at the same time because it's very close to the sun, and then the entire planet then experiences winter at the same time when you're farthest away from the sun.
So the Earth would enter a new climate phase where you would have short but intense summers and then very long winters.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Short but intense summers and very long winters. And what is the whole world? What is the number one thing that Obama has traveled recently around the world? I mean, now with ISIS, there's other distractions and stuff, and World War III is about to break out, and goodness gracious, all kinds of horrible things. But the point is that over the last year, Obama has made more trips worldwide to talk to, G8 people and stuff about, climate change and it being the number one concern on, well, what did they say? They said in that documentary was on the Weather Channel like 3 years ago. Short, intense summers and long, ultimately intense winters, and that is exactly what we have right now.
Well, even adding 1 second to the atomic clock per year, or a leap second. Let's say you did it every year, and you added a second. Most people don't realize the amount of energy that is released in the planet. I think the last estimate that I read about, and it hadn't been long that I studied this, is that it would be enough energy released by the Earth for that 1 second longer day to power the United States for a whole year. So,
yep.
And understand, let's take, for instance, Einstein's theory of relativity. Whether you believe it or not, let's go with it, that it's true. Einstein's theory of relativity says the faster an object travels, the slower time is, right? But the slower an object travels, the faster time passes. Are you with me? So if the Earth is traveling faster, then time is passing slower. But if the Earth is passing slower, if the day is longer, then the time is actually speeding up. It's kind of backwards thinking of it that way, but this could very well be what's going on with the travailing of, the earth, the travail on the earth, the earthquakes, and the things that are going on with exactly like Jesus said in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, Revelation 6. These things that are happening right now are because of celestial things that are happening because of what's happening on the earth, right?
Absolutely. Praise God. And they have known, the forces of darkness have known about this stuff. Mm-hmm. I call them the forces of darkness. But, the upper echelon, the 33rd degree level of the shadow government, if you want to call them that, they've known about this stuff for a long, long time. When you go back and you look at, go all the way back into the Iran-Contra affair and the top secret information they had, Operation Garden Plot and all that stuff. Yeah, and you look at the PDD 51, the presidential directive on sustaining the government, all that stuff. Guess what? It's because they know what's coming.
Right.
They know that, and you can put it into whatever container of understanding that you have comfort with. You can call it climate change. Right. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it it's Planet X coming. You can give it whatever label that you want to give it, but at the end of the day, what God said was going to happen over and over and over again through all of his major prophets in the book of Revelation and the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, it to a T. And we're living it right now, right down to the animal kills, the phenomenal increase in fireballs across the world. I saw a chart recently. I have it somewhere in my notes, but I can't find it because now my notes are so overwhelmingly huge. I can't find anything, but it was a chart, a trending chart from the American Meteorological Society from going back all the way to 2009 to like 2015, and oh my, it is not linear. It would be bad enough if the fireball trend, the increase in fireballs was linear. That would be bad enough. It's logarithmic. It's like, from 2012 to 2015, there's something like a 9 to 10-fold increase, maybe more, of fireballs that are occurring across the world.